Hi guys, as you may know, my last job was the most toxic job that I had, and it was very bad. Like there be so many stories, things just happen randomly. I worked at the airport and I worked as a bag room agent and I was putting bags in a cart. And basically there's a lot of people that work in that area. It's either age range from 50s, 70s to 20 to 30s. So it's all different age ranges where we work with. I worked outside and I was pretty much just putting bags in a cart. Sometimes they would put me in ramp out of nowhere or they'll just shift me somewhere where I'm not supposed to be scheduled at. But it was very toxic working there. The environment was not it was not working for you to be like the most best person to be there at all. I have a couple of stories of what happened when I was there. There was a story where we would do morning meetings almost every 3 days of the week. Normally, they would do them, they're supposed to do them every single morning, but they were getting lazy to even do them because it was hard to do it to do morning meetings because everybody was in the break room just eating breakfast, sitting on their phones. This environment is crazy. As in, the break room is big enough, but yet people they act like children even though they're grown adults. As in, if a supervisor comes in to initiate a morning meeting, she has to bring other people around the area to sit them down because she's not going to do a meeting in front of five people. So she's going to bring everybody from outside to do a group meeting, which is with more than five people. So now, before they start the meeting, they make you sign a paper saying that you were there at the meeting. Why do I have to sign a paper saying that I was there at the meeting? It makes no sense. And each meeting that they would say in this meeting, they would sometimes repeat the same thing about safety and, the airport, blah, blah, blah. They just kept repeating the same thing over and over again. And it was just to the point where sometimes you just don't even want to be in the break room because of that, because they disturbed the peace. And there was one point in particular that happened where the supervisor was trying to have a calm morning meeting. This lady, she was interrupted multiple times, and it was a grown adult that interrupted her. So basically, she'll start the meeting, she'll start talking, she'll say, "Hey guys, this is what's on our to do list for the week, and this is the word of the day." She's talking, and then someone in the back is chit chattering on the phone. Nobody's caring about the meeting, and she got cut off multiple times. And she waited till the third time when she got cut off to start showing out how she felt. And how she felt, she started cursing at everybody. She was very loudly, well, she didn't curse, but she was very mad, and she started like she wanted to, but she really lashed out. And the other employees were still going back and forth. And I'm just like, yo, you the one that caused her to be lashed out like that, and you're still going back and forth. And now the employee that caused her to lash out started saying, "Hey, you're not supposed to yell at me, blah blah blah. Your supervisor, you know." So she ended up apologizing to him because she, I guess, went out of character and yelled at him. And it was just so toxic working there. Like, the supervisors would give you attitude and then the employees would curse back out at the supervisors. It was just, I remember another time where I was in this break room, I was relaxing, and next thing you know, a supervisor came to an employee. She asked him, "Hey, why aren't you on a flight?" And this guy was a Jamaican guy, so he was a Jamaican employee, and she was Spanish. And next thing you know, the Jamaican guy cursed her out so bad that she literally got upset. And they had to bring like three or four supervisors to speak to him as to why did he lash out like that. And he cursed her out so bad where she couldn't even speak. I honestly felt like she was very about to cry. That's how bad she got cursed out from the supervisor. All she did was come in and ask, "Why are you not on your flight? Why are you on break?" That's all she asked. But the Jamaican guy just went overboard. Now, I have another story where there was this girl and she is supposed to give her ID before the flight starts so the security can just write her name down. And I'm assuming that she just wasn't having it and then she just blacked on everybody. She's in Queens, so you know how girls from Queens act when they get defensive. She just started yelling so loud that everybody from their flights was disturbed and everybody had to look to see what was going on because that's how loud she was. And there was no supervisor to be found at all when that thing was happening. It only happened after, I guess, she left, but she had left for the day. So that was that. But this job had so many bad, toxic things that happened. And there was this one instant where I was working with this employee. He was on my flight this morning and he was fine. He was doing his job fine. He's a lead supervisor. That means he's not a super supervisor, but he's still a team lead for the flight. And he was working his shift. He was fine. And then I, you know, said goodbye after the flight was finished. And that same day, he overworked himself. And I guess he passed out on the floor. And people decided to ignore him while being passed out on the floor. And he passed away and people did not care. They were laughing at him. Some people were just like, "Oh, we got to go back to our flight." They just treated him like he was a number. And I got from sources from the job where he had told the supervisor he was not feeling well, and the supervisor ignored his request that he was not feeling well, and then he overworked himself. He was the only person on the flight. He's a lead supervisor and he's doing other supervisor job. There was a flight that started that had nobody on the belt. Nobody helped him out and he overworked himself and he passed out on the floor right next to the airplane and it was a whole big thing going on. The people that tried to revive him did not revive him in time. And yeah, that's what happened. And he ended up just not making it in time and that's what happened. But this place was very toxic environment. Supervisor would pick and choose who they want to mess with. You know, cannot be on your phones, but some supervisors don't care about it, and then other supervisors do care about it. I remember one time I was sitting in the cart and I had peanuts and my hands was in the cart like this. You could see this. That's all the supervisor saw. So he walks up to me and he goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I show him what I'm doing. I show him peanuts. He thinking I'm rolling a blunt while I'm at work because he has nothing better to do but to just walk around and just, see me doing this at work, thinking that I'm rolling a blunt at work. This is federal grounds. Like, why would I want to do that on federal grounds? So that, but he just picked on me, you know. If there's nothing else to do, he'll just pick on me for no reason because he's so bored that he just picks on me. He said that was a joke. He found it funny, but I didn't find it funny at all. But there was just a lot of things. Like there was a one point in time where we had a flight and there were no carts to put the bags in the flight. And all the bags started to pile up and pile up. And it's almost like a couple of hundreds of bags just piled up in one corner. And I had to leave the flight because there was no carts for the flight. So they had to wait till the plane lands so that they could have carts for the flight. And that flight lasted almost 2 hours over the regular time it was supposed to happen. So it was just a mess that had to be cleaned up, and it was just crazy. But these people, I remember one time where there was a supervisor who yelled at an employee because he went to go get a tug for his flight because the cart had filled up so that he could go take the cart out and put it where all the carts are supposed to go for the flight for so when the flight comes they could just bring that cart to the plane. So he got the tug. The supervisor came and started yelling at him because she needed the tug as well, but there were no other tugs. So I'm assuming that she could have just asked him, "Hey, can I have the tug?" Miscommunication. No, she just started yelling at him. "Hey, where's my tug? I need my tug now. Why would you take this tug?" And he started yelling at her like, "Yo, you don't talk to me like that. You don't disrespect me like that." You know, he just started yelling at her, cursing at her and everything. He was like, "Yo, if you were outside of this job, I would come and see you." Blah blah blah. It was just so toxic at this place. And I literally recorded some stuff like just so I could have proof to show people how toxic this job was, because sometimes like this environment was so bad for me I couldn't take it anymore. Like I just couldn't. I was working outside, so that means that I could get sick at any moment. It was easier for me to get sick because it was very cold outside. Sometimes it'd be windy and it was just so much nonsense. And what made it so bad was when they were going to switch my schedule, I asked them if there was any way that I could possibly get a morning shift or an afternoon shift. He looked at me and said, "It's either you do the shift that you have, the 4:30 to 10:30 p.m. Of whatever shift that was, 4:30 to 12:30 p.m., or you just don't have a job." He looked at me dead in the face and said, "I have nothing I could do for you. It's either you do this or just get another job." He didn't care. The supervisors don't care. They just treat you like it was a number. And I worked at Donata from the airport. This was Terminal 1. And they treat you good, but it was just way too toxic. Like, if you're not favored there, then you're not really gonna get much out of working there. So I just couldn't do it anymore. Like, it was just too toxic. But sometimes when you're at a place where it's very toxic, you just gotta really notice it and just escape when you can. Like, even if you have no job, even if you have no backup plan, it'll save you a long run. Like, it was just so toxic over there to the point where it's just like, and this one guy, he just like, he literally smelled so bad. It's like I had to like hold my breath. That's how bad he smelled. Like each flight, you couldn't even you couldn't even breathe. That's how bad he smelled. Like it was just very toxic. Like you literally had to cover your nose with a mask. That's how bad he smelled. And I'm sorry to say that, but it was very toxic working there. Like it was a good job to learn the skills and stuff, but once you know the skills, it's like you don't need to stay there anymore. And then most of the people, all they do is they gossip, they talk about sports betting, and it's not really an environment. You're just there for the paycheck and you're there to come back home. So that's what I did, and I just knew I had to milk the cow as long as I could, and I only stayed there for about 8 months, and I would have still been there to this day if they didn't change my time. But unfortunately, that's what happened to me. But that place was very toxic. It's just, from the break room, and the bathrooms were so dirty. Oh my God. The bathroom smelled like the men would just not even pee. They wouldn't even use the toilet. They were peeing on the floor. That's how bad the bathrooms were. Sometimes it was missing soap, and it's just, oh my God. It was very just, unbearable. But that's the video for today. If you have a toxic job, please leave that job whenever you can, because it'll save you a lot in your journey to becoming successful. But if you like this video, please give a like on this video, subscribe, and share it with a friend. And thank you and have a good one. Thank you for watching.